A disturbing video has gone viral showing a teacher allegedly slapping a female student for receiving a failing grade. The incident occurred during class, with other students capturing the moment on their phones. The footage shows the educator losing his temper before striking the girl, sparking immediate outrage among classmates. School administrators have launched an internal investigation, while local authorities are reviewing potential legal action. Parents and activists are demanding accountability, calling this a clear case of unacceptable violence in educational institutions. The video has ignited fierce debates online, with thousands condemning the teacher's actions. Protesters gathered outside the school, holding signs like "No excuse for abuse" and "Protect our children." Some students revealed that this wasn't the first time the teacher had aggressive outbursts. The victim's family is considering legal action, while education officials promise a thorough review of teacher conduct policies. Social media is flooded with reactions, with many calling for the teacher's immediate dismissal and stricter laws against school violence. Amid the backlash, some reports suggest the teacher claims the student was disrespectful and disruptive before the incident. Colleagues describe him as a strict, but usually professional educator. However, child psychologists argue that no behavior justifies physical punishment. The school board is reviewing surveillance footage and witness statements to determine if there were mitigating circumstances. Meanwhile, online discussions remain divided. Some blame the education system's pressure on teachers, while others insist violence is never acceptable. Legal experts say the teacher could face charges ranging from assault to child endangerment, depending on local laws. The school district has placed him on administrative leave pending the investigation. Past cases show mixed outcomes. Some teachers received fines or probation, while others lost their licenses permanently. The victim's family has hired a lawyer, signaling a potential lawsuit. Activists are using this case to push for nationwide reforms in teacher accountability and student protection policies. This incident has reignited concerns about rising aggression in schools, both from teachers and students. Recent studies show an increase in classroom violence post-pandemic, linked to stress and inadequate support systems. Education reformers are urging better mental health resources and conflict resolution training for staff. As this story develops, it highlights a critical question. How can schools ensure safety without compromising discipline? Viewers are encouraged to share their thoughts in the comments. Is this an isolated case or a symptom of a broken system? Following the incident, students at the school have reported mixed emotions. Some feel unsafe, while others have rallied in support of the affected classmate. Anonymous interviews reveal that several pupils are now afraid to speak up in class, fearing similar treatment. Meanwhile, a group of students organized a silent protest during lunch breaks, wearing black armbands as a symbol of defiance against teacher misconduct. School counselors have been made available, but many argue that the damage to student-teacher trust may be long-lasting. The story has dominated headlines, with major news networks conducting interviews with parents, educators, and legal analysts. Some outlets focus on the teacher's past record, while others highlight systemic issues in school discipline. Sensationalized reports have led to misinformation, prompting the school to issue an official statement clarifying facts. Viral clips from talk shows debate whether the incident reflects broader societal problems, such as teacher burnout or declining respect for authority. The media's role in shaping public opinion is now under scrutiny. Internet sleuths have doxed the teacher, digging up old social media posts and employment history. While some claim to expose a pattern of aggression, others warn against mob justice without due process. Viral hashtags like #FireHimNow and Teacher Watch List trend as users demand his permanent blacklisting from the profession. However, digital rights activists caution that such campaigns can lead to false accusations and harm innocent individuals. The debate over online accountability versus privacy continues to escalate. Local lawmakers have announced emergency hearings to review school safety protocols. The education minister called the incident unacceptable and pledged stricter teacher screenings. Proposed measures include mandatory de-escalation training and anonymous student feedback systems. However, teacher unions argue that systemic underfunding and overcrowded classrooms are the real issues. As political figures weigh in, the scandal becomes a pivotal case for education reform ahead of upcoming elections. Beyond the immediate fallout, this case could redefine teacher-student dynamics nationwide. Schools may face increased surveillance, legal liabilities, and pressure to adopt zero-tolerance policies. Psychologists warn that over-policing classrooms could harm learning environments, while others insist it's necessary to prevent abuse. The victim's family vows to turn their trauma into advocacy, launching a nonprofit for student rights. As the world watches, one question lingers. Will this be a turning point or just another forgotten scandal? Child psychologists warn that such incidents can cause long-term emotional scars, leading to anxiety, depression, and distrust in authority figures. The victim has reportedly been experiencing nightmares and refuses to return to school. Classmates show signs of secondary trauma, with some developing fear of particular subjects or teachers. School psychologists emphasize the need for long-term counseling, but many parents complain about insufficient mental health resources in educational institutions. This case highlights the urgent need for trauma-informed approaches in schools nationwide. The local teachers' union has issued a controversial statement, calling for due process, while acknowledging the severity of the incident. Some union representatives suggest the teacher may have been under extreme stress due to unrealistic workload demands. However, this position has drawn criticism from parents' associations, who accuse the union of making excuses for unacceptable behavior. The debate has exposed growing tensions between educators fighting for better working conditions and parents demanding absolute student safety. The incident has inspired a global social media movement, with students from different countries sharing their own stories of teacher misconduct using hashtags like #NotJustOurSchool. Some have created TikTok challenges where they film themselves asking uncomfortable questions to school administrators. In several cities, students have organized walkouts during lessons, holding placards with statistics about school violence. This unexpected international solidarity has turned a local incident into a worldwide discussion about children's rights in education. While most countries banned corporal punishment decades ago, this incident reveals how violence persists in modern education. Education historians note that similar cases occur globally about 3-5 times per year that gain media attention. Some conservative commentators surprisingly defend limited physical discipline, sparking heated debates about cultural differences in education. Human rights organizations use this opportunity to push for complete abolition of any physical punishment in all educational settings worldwide. Beyond the immediate participants, this case has impacted countless others. The teacher's family received threats and had to relocate temporarily. School administrators face potential career consequences for oversight, and even the student who filmed the incident deals with unexpected fame. Textbook publishers are reviewing content about teacher authority, while education students worldwide are adding ethics modules to their studies. Perhaps most significantly, millions of teachers now second-guess their classroom management techniques, and students everywhere are more likely to speak up about abuse. This single moment in one classroom may ultimately transform global education dynamics. The prevalence of student-recorded videos has created a new era of classroom transparency. Education experts note a 300% increase in reported misconduct cases since 2020, directly correlating with smartphone accessibility. While this empowers victims, some teachers complain about constant surveillance affecting their teaching methods. Legal scholars debate whether schools should implement no recording policies or embrace this as a necessary check on authority. The incident has sparked development of new apps specifically designed to securely report school misconduct anonymously. Baby boomers and Gen Zers are significantly more likely to view this as discipline gone too far rather than abuse, according to recent polls. Millennials and Gen Z overwhelmingly condemn the teacher's actions, with 78% calling for criminal charges. This divide has flooded social media, with viral memes comparing old-school parenting styles to modern child-rearing approaches. Family gatherings worldwide have reportedly turned into heated debates about appropriate discipline methods across generations. The school district now faces multiple lawsuits totaling an estimated $2.5 million in potential damages. Insurance premiums for educator liability coverage are expected to rise by 30% district-wide. Local property values may decline as families reconsider moving to the area. Surprisingly, educational tech companies are capitalizing on the crisis, offering AI monitoring systems and panic button apps to schools at premium prices. The incident has become a case study in risk management courses at universities nationwide. Several A-list celebrities have amplified the story to their millions of followers, with some establishing scholarships for the victim. A famous pop star released a protest song about school violence that topped charts in 15 countries. Meanwhile, influencer-led campaigns have raised over $1 million for student advocacy groups. However, some educators criticize these interventions as superficial, arguing celebrities simplify complex systemic issues for viral moments rather than substantive change. Tech startups are piloting emotion recognition AI that alerts administrators when teachers show signs of extreme stress. Some schools are testing smart classrooms, with sensors that detect raised voices or sudden movements. While promising, these solutions raise privacy concerns and may create more problems than they solve. Psychologists warn that over-reliance on surveillance could damage the human connection essential to education. The debate continues as districts weigh high-tech solutions against fundamental human resource and training improvements. Within weeks of the viral incident, education hotlines reported a 470% increase in student misconduct complaints. While some represent long overdue revelations, experts warn many are likely copycat claims seeking attention. School administrators now struggle to distinguish genuine cases from fabricated ones, creating a crisis of credibility in student-teacher relations. This phenomenon has forced districts to implement new verification protocols while ensuring real victims aren't silenced. Local private schools and homeschooling cooperatives report waitlists growing 8-fold since the incident. Education analysts predict this could trigger the largest shift from public schools since COVID-19. Homeschool curriculum providers have seen stock prices soar, while teacher unions warn of an impending brain drain from public systems. This exodus raises fundamental questions about trust in institutional education and may permanently alter the educational landscape. Dark humor memes comparing the incident to video game boss fights and movie scenes have amassed billions of views. While some argue this helps process trauma through comedy, psychologists warn it dangerously trivializes abuse. The teacher's face has become an unlikely reaction meme template, with even celebrities unknowingly using it in unrelated contexts, demonstrating how viral moments lose their original meaning in digital culture. Fewer than 7 major production companies are racing to develop docuseries about the incident. Streaming platforms see this as their next true crime-style hit, with bids reaching $3 million for exclusive interviews. Ethics watchdogs question whether this commodification of trauma helps awareness or simply exploits victims, while the victim's family reportedly hired Hollywood representation to control their narrative. 3 states have quietly implemented AI systems analyzing years of teacher evaluations, sick days, and even social media to predict who might snap. While proponents claim this could prevent future incidents, civil liberties groups call it pre-crime discrimination. The technology reportedly uses micro-expression analysis during staff meetings and keystroke monitoring in grading systems, raising terrifying questions about workplace surveillance creep. Major educational publishers have formed emergency committees to review all content related to teacher authority and discipline. New editions now include whole chapters on emotional intelligence and conflict resolution. Surprisingly, sales of George Orwell's 1984 have spiked 300% in school districts, with teachers using it to discuss authority and surveillance. Some conservative states have pushed back, accusing publishers of rewriting educational standards through trauma. School psychologists report 18-hour workdays as demand for trauma counseling skyrockets. Universities can't train new specialists fast enough, leading to controversial fast-track certification programs. Teletherapy startups have seen valuations double, but rural areas remain underserved. The American Psychological Association has declared an unprecedented mental health emergency in education, with burnout rates among counselors now matching those of frontline medical workers. The National Education Association faces its worst internal rift in decades. Reformists demand mandatory psychological evaluations for all teachers, while traditionalists call it punishing the many for one's sins. Some locals are breaking away to form new unions focused exclusively on teacher mental health. The infighting has weakened collective bargaining power just as districts impose stricter oversight measures. Finland has doubled down on teacher autonomy, while Singapore implemented mandatory body cams for educators. Japan's education minister cited the incident while announcing a return to traditional respect curricula. In Germany, lawmakers fast-tracked a $2 billion teacher wellness initiative. UNESCO has announced the formation of an international task force, marking the first time school discipline has been treated as a global human rights issue. Educational architects are completely rethinking classroom layouts, replacing traditional teacher-fronted designs with circular democracy spaces. New prototypes feature panic buttons, clear line-of-sight sightlines for cameras, and de-escalation zones with calming colors. Some experimental schools are testing glass-walled classrooms, while others argue this creates fishbowl surveillance. The $27 billion school construction industry faces its biggest redesign mandate since the open classroom movement of the 1970s. Insurance carriers have tripled premiums for educator liability coverage, with some districts now paying more for insurance than textbooks. High-risk teachers face individual surcharges based on stress analytics. Several states are establishing public insurance pools as private insurers withdraw from the market altogether. This financial pressure is accelerating the replacement of human teachers with digital alternatives in some budget-strapped districts. Over 200 districts have mandated body cams for teachers, with footage stored on blockchain for tamper-proof evidence. While initially resisted, many educators now demand them as protection against false accusations. The American Federation of Teachers reports a 40% increase in harassment claims since implementation, not from students, but from parents reviewing classroom footage. Privacy advocates warn this creates a generation raised under constant surveillance. Social media has enabled mass crowdsourcing of past misconduct allegations. Viral campaigns like My Traumatic Teacher see adults confronting retired educators about decades-old incidents. Memory scientists caution about unreliable recollections, while victims argue justice has no expiration date. Some school districts are establishing truth and reconciliation commissions to address historical abuse claims. Radical educational movements are gaining unprecedented traction, with unschooling collectives growing 500% since the incident. These communities reject formal curricula entirely, allowing children to learn purely through life experiences. Early results show extraordinary creativity in some students, while others struggle with basic literacy. Governments are scrambling to regulate this borderless education movement before it creates a parallel society. Background checks now include social media and classroom analytics, making dating apps for educators nearly impossible. One popular platform reported 73% of teacher profiles deleted after implementing professional risk scores. Some districts have started offering matchmaking services to help staff find partners who understand their unique constraints, creating a new niche in the relationship industry. Controversial focus campuses isolate students with behavioral issues in highly monitored environments. While proponents cite reduced classroom disruptions, human rights groups compare them to juvenile detention centers. These facilities increasingly use pharmaceutical interventions and VR therapy, raising ethical questions about consent and cognitive liberty in minors. Traditional teaching credentials are being challenged by micro-certification systems. Tech giants now offer their own educator badges based on emotional intelligence metrics and stress tolerance tests. This fragmentation has created chaos in hiring, with some elite schools requiring 17 different certifications while others hire based solely on social media influence metrics, frustrated by overregulation. Some educators are running clandestine classes in homes and community centers. These dark schools use cash payments and burner devices to avoid detection. While some focus on forbidden knowledge, others simply want to teach without surveillance. Authorities are torn between shutting them down and learning from their innovative approaches. New platforms allow students to rate educators on everything from fairness to emotional stability. Some districts have made these evaluations part of official performance metrics. The most brutal reviews go viral, creating a power inversion that's reshaping classroom dynamics. Veteran teachers report unprecedented stress from constant student judgment. Google, Apple, and Meta now operate complete K-12 systems where students earn cryptocurrency for participation. These corporate schools feature product-integrated curricula and behavior tracking wearables. Early data suggests graduates excel in technical skills but struggle with critical thinking about technology itself, exactly what critics warned would happen. As the incident fades from headlines, competing factions are crafting radically different narratives. Conservative groups portray it as the moment education lost its backbone, while reformers frame it as the birth of student liberation. AI-generated memory modifications allow users to experience alternate versions of events, making consensus on basic facts increasingly impossible. Experimental transparency schools record every word, gesture, and facial expression for AI analysis. Students and teachers receive daily behavior scores predicting their trustworthiness. While violence has disappeared, so has spontaneity. Classrooms now resemble clinical laboratories where human connection is mediated by algorithms constantly assessing risk. Futurists predict the complete dissolution of traditional schooling within 20 years. In its place, personalized AI tutors, skill-based micro-certifications, and decentralized learning pods. The viral incident may be remembered not as a crisis contained, but as the first tremor before the earthquake that finally toppled the centuries-old factory model of education. As one child famously asked during a congressional hearing, "Why do we still have schools when the whole world can be our classroom?" This incident has exposed deep fractures in our education system, sparking urgent conversations about power, accountability, and the very purpose of schooling in modern society. From viral outrage to policy reforms, from technological surveillance to generational divides, the repercussions continue unfolding in unpredictable ways. While solutions remain debated, one truth stands clear: the world can no longer ignore the complex relationship between educators and students. As we move forward, the challenge lies in creating learning environments that are both safe and nurturing, disciplined yet compassionate. The classroom of tomorrow is being shaped today, not just by administrators and lawmakers, but by every student who speaks up, every teacher who reflects, and every citizen who engages with these crucial issues. The lesson extends far beyond one school or one nation. It's about how we collectively choose to educate, and ultimately, how we choose to build our future.